Hey everyone, Melanie Muenchinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I'm going to be sharing a new project for you with my newest set from Gina K Designs, Stately Flowers 13, and I am pairing it with one of the other sets in the series that coordinates. This is from Stately Flowers 11 that I am using this awesome postage frame that will fit any of the stately flowers and then a couple other postage elements. So fun. You can do one for every state in the US. The products that we're going to be using to create today's card, I'm actually going to use the saguaro instead of the yucca since I did that in my other video, but I wanted you to see both. And I love how this turned out, just showing the close-up of the flower in the corner. I may do this in another video, so just look for that. But in addition to those two stamp sets, we're going to be using some ink pads. I've got the Gina K Jet Black Amalgam ink, the Turquoise C for sponging in a little bit of sky, and then the grass green. I can't find my pad right now, so I just grabbed the cube in a pinch. For doing your stamping, you're going to want either a MISTI or some blocks. So the 3x4 block that Gina K carries, it's got the finger grips and the grid on it. It is exactly the right size for that postage block. So I usually put this on here and then just leave it on there, and that just makes it handy for any stamping that I'm going to do. You might want to have a smaller block for doing the smaller elements. That's up to you, or you can use your MISTI. Going to be using a couple of the Lifechanging Blending Brushes for doing that blending. I've got some of the Gina K tape runner from ThermoWeb. I have a few markers here. These are the Everblend markers from Arteza. I've got the 944, 949 that I'm doing for the centers of the flowers, the 5947 and 942 for the cactus part, and then 752 for doing some shadows. So these are all from that 120 set that I have shown in other videos. And then you can create a mask. I've shown in another video in my Stately Flowers 11 playlist how you can stamp out this border and then cut out a frame for it to just use it again and again and again. But today I am just going to use some of the purple tape for my masking, or you can use just some sticky notes. So let's begin. I think I listed everything that I'm using. If not, then I will mention it and I will put it in the supply list later. So I'm going to do my stamping first, and I'm going to use this black ink. And heads up, I just remembered to point out that there is a little flaw in my stamp. It didn't come this way, and it will not come to you this way, but my cat actually chewed off the corner of my postage stamp. So I have to fill that in with a pen each time I stamp it. So it's missing that little bit. So these are pretty indestructible unless something like a cat or a pet actually chews on it and eats it. Okay, so there is my border. So now I'm going to go ahead and create some masking for it. So we're going to be, instead of stamping something over it, we're stamping and blending something into it. So I like to use both sides of this tape since it's a wide roll. I'm going to be using the straight edge of either side, but you can also use the other edge of the tape for a torn edge. So I'm putting the straight side in the middle of each, and I want to make it longer so that I'm not going off accidentally with my blending onto that back of my mat. Okay, and I'm just going in about 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, just making it parallel with the edge of that border. And right here. And you can adjust that if you want. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this saguaro blossom and I'm going to go ahead and put this on this block. So you can layer these up. Here's one that I showed the other day during our release party. So they actually bloom all over the top of the cactus. The saguaro is the one that's just huge, not a Joshua tree, but it has great big fat limbs. It's really tall. But then on the top, these beautiful white flowers bloom. So I just wanted to have it looking like they were all over the green base and coming off of it just to kind of spotlight it. I don't know why I showed you that. I was just kind of showing you how these work on the cactus, or how they naturally bloom on the cactus, rather, since those yucca flowers, they have a stalk that's kind of separate from where all the main leaves are, and then they hang down. So I'm going to stamp these just into the corner here, leaving some room for that canceled stamp, and then also putting one of the greetings, or maybe the forever or love from that Stately Flowers 11 there at the top. And so then I'm going to just sponge around into this. So I'm going to take my, oh no, okay, I'm so glad that I had that mostly masked. Okay, so this is unedited here, but I just got just that one little mark. So you could take your sand eraser if you get it on there or not, but I'm just going to blend just right in to the corners, just suggesting that cactus underneath. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do with the green. Then I'm going to take this smaller one and I'm going to go in and I'm going to create some sky, leaving some space open so it kind of looks like there are some clouds there in the background, as if you're just kind of standing in front of that cactus and peeping over the edge. Okay. All right, so that's all I'm going to do for the blending. Now let's go in and just add a little bit of color here. So I'm going to go under, I'm going to take this darkest green and go onto these stalks underneath. And then you can also put some under. Going onto the main part of the cactus. And then I'm going to take this lighter green, and that might have been a little brighter than I intended for it to be. I'm going to go in, I want to have just a little bit more green here. Actually, probably what I want is the fresh asparagus, but I don't have that pulled out right now. So I just want this to be just a little bit darker. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to do these centers. So I'm going to take this 944. So this is the lighter one, I believe. And I'm just going around the edge. And if memory serves, the middle of that stalk, when I was looking at the different pictures, I think it's white. Kind of a milky, creamy color. And then I'm going to go in with this other yellow. Oh, no, these are very close. Let me grab a different yellow, actually. I just want something that's a little bit darker. So let me do this 9431. Let's see how this one does. Okay, yeah. So I just wanted something that's just going to be a little darker. And I'm putting that on the bottom edge. And they're really frilly inside. It kind of looks mossy. It has some texture, sort of kind of curly almost. Okay, maybe just go up the stalk just a little bit. And then this is really going to make those white petals stand out and give some dimension to the petals. So I'm going in with the 752. And I'm just coming in here, the middle, just imagine this being cupped. And so as it opens up and out, the light is going to be hitting here. It's going to be darkest in here if you imagine this being the center of the flower. And then coming over, so these edges here are going to just have a little bit of shadow on them. And I'm just going up kind of in a zigzag, and that's kind of creating just some folds. Now where it's overlapping there, I am just making another shadow. And we'll do some in here. So it's very simple coloring. If you want a little bit darker for more contrast, you can grab a darker marker. I do want to point out that on this one, the darker you go on your shadow, the more intense that sun is going to be looking. So I chose a blue-gray for that. And I love how that turned out. But I don't want it to be too dark on this because, again, these are white petals that I'm trying to create. So just something that is going to just stand out. And then I just kind of like to pull it out like in the middle and just kind of tracing that fold. Coloring over completely any that are hidden from view behind that top flower. And that's it, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is I am going to remove the tape. You're gonna get that nice crisp edge. And you can reuse this tape later. Oh, I just love that. Looks so good, so clean and crisp. Just like a postage stamp, okay? And then I'm going to use that little hand canceled. And on the other one I put in the USA, but I think on this one I'm going to put hand stamped. I have some little tiny ones to pop into the middle of that cancel greeting. I think I'm going to go this way actually. And I'm going to do that hand stamped, like I said. I've got a little Gina K designs in there that you could put for the back of your card. So here's the hand stamped. Okay. And then if you wanted to put like the love or the forever, you could do that. I'm going to put the name of the flower on there. And I was thinking about it. I think I'm going to challenge myself. I probably bet that I know a customer. I definitely have friends in a lot of different states. And I've made a lot of friends through our customers and Gina K fans over the years. So I bet I know somebody in every single state. So I think it'd be really fun for me to send a card to everybody with their state flower. Not every single one of you, I'm sorry, I can't do that. But at least one for each state. So I'm going to share those on Facebook as I do that. And I bet you could do the same with your collection. Okay, so there's that saguaro cactus blossom. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of tape on this. Oh, and one thing I forgot with that shadowed marker that you have. So just put that right there in the center. So one thing that I think is really cool to do is to take the same one that you used to do your shadowing and create a little shadow underneath here. So on the one that I did before, I did it so that the light looks like it's coming from the top right and casting a shadow down. I'll show you that in a second. If you put it just underneath, it's going to look like it's coming from the top. So you could do it on this side and it would look like the light is coming from this direction. But since I did my lighting coming this way, I'm going to do it again over here. So all I'm doing is I'm just tracing outside of that border. And it's going to look dimensional, so I didn't have to cut this out or raise it up. Very easy to do. And I'm just going to grab a black pen to fill that in there. Let's see, where is my pen? I know I've got one. Here we go. Just fill that in. Glad it's something easy to fix again and again. And there's my card. So let me show you those two really quickly here. And you could do that with any one of the other flowers in here, the peach blossom. You can also do this for the peach blossom. I would probably turn it and make the stamp be a landscape style instead of portrait style. But you can just lay, simply lay when you're trying to figure out your layouts. You can lay that frame or take the set and just go right over it and see how that would look to frame your stamps up. And same thing, even though I did this one portrait style, you could do that one landscape as well. Just so many different options. So the Stately Flowers 11 is in stock right now, and it's a great one to have for that whole collection. I've also got that seed packet from Stately Flowers 10. I'm going to show you that. I think it's 10. 9? I don't know. I have to go back and look. I think it's 10. Okay, so anyway, those are the stamps for today and the cards for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know which card you like best. And visit us at Gina K Designs and on my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart. That's melaniemuenchinger.blogspot.com. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. God bless.